What's up, everyone? I'm Joe Lemon, and today's conversation is going to be about the importance of ownership versus distribution. So, we're going to get right into it today, and I'm really glad you guys tuned into the Sales Culture Podcast. You can get the full interview based content with me from the Real Value Exchange, but this is going to be quick hits, just trying to get right to the point so you guys can go back and get back to selling and get back to work. And I learned a lot from Evan Spiegel today, this week, I should say. And he's the CEO of Snapchat. If you guys remember, 2 years ago, Snapchat got their face handed to them whenever Facebook came out and copied their whole main feature of disappearing content. 2 years ago, like literally the whole stock price was like $5 per share. Um, you know, and like back then, Evan was noted by saying "F the markets, man," and he stuck to his 10-year vision, right, for the company to really be this VR powerhouse. And so, now it's going gangbusters, man. I mean, literally went from 70 billion market cap. Now it's worth somewhere, I think, around 70 to maybe 100 billion. It's just booming, and it's really impressive to how he navigated those terrains. Now, what does this have to do with the main point of this conversation? We're talking about distribution, right? And distribution, when it comes to content, comes in many forms. Snapchat is a distribution channel. Facebook is one. I mean, you could do all types of things through email marketing and everything else. But the key point to note is that there's a big difference when it comes to choosing. Do you own the distribution channels? Like, do you own the hosting of your podcast, right? Do you own your actual course content, like by putting it on Teachable? Or do you look at putting it on somebody else's platform so you can have that exposure and awareness that you're probably seeking, right? You're trying to meet some strangers, and it's good to do that through LinkedIn or Facebook or IG or whatever other platform that you're looking at. And there's a difference between the two. So I'm rolling out this course where I'm really breaking down how we need to try to collaborate with our competitors opposed to focusing on trying to beat them out. There's more work that we can get done through collaboration. And this is what my course is around. It's called Collaborative Selling Course. Marathon Selling is what it is. And it's really how I separate this conversation, right? Ownership is a marathon running. Like, that's marathon training. It's slow, it's a grind, it takes time, it compounds, and the more and more that you do it. Finding effective distribution should not be disrespected at all, though. Like, there's so many good products out there. Without that distribution, with poor distribution, nobody knows about it. It's like that old saying, like, if a tree falls in the wood but nobody hears it, did it really fall? Doesn't matter, who cares, right? Like, that's the whole point. And so distribution is crazy important, and a lot of people with great products and great services disrespect distribution, and their businesses end up folding up because of that. Now, where the rubber meets the road is, where do you do as a startup? Because that's a lot of guys I'm working with. I'm a small shop myself, and it's like, how do you get out the gates, right? When everyone wouldn't say that, hey, I want to own it. I got to own it. Like, because of course, that's the way of the world these days. Ownership is king. But if you own something that no one knows about, what's the point? And so I think there's a nice mix here. When it comes to your content distribution, ownership, a little bit of distribution strategy, we have to think about it in this context of owning the main meat of the conversation, like blog writing, having that on your asset like a website, right? Your podcasting, hosting those on your own, choosing where you're going to host those, and then storing those actual conversations so that they're your own assets. You can take those with you. Breaking those out onto effective distribution channels makes a lot of sense. And really, if you make under $1 million business, if you're a startup in startup land and you haven't really figured out like your go-to-market strategy, or you're not sure if you have product market fit yet, and you don't have scale, basically, one channel is all you need. One ownership piece, one channel of distribution, and you work it until you figure out how to maximize it. So for me, for instance, right, podcasting is the ownership piece for me, and then it's going to go on to LinkedIn, and I'm going to own that. LinkedIn's where I'm going to play. Yes, I've made the classic mistake that I'm sure a lot of us do, where we know better than this, but we spread ourselves too thin and the impact is weak. It's like watering yourself down because you're trying to talk to everybody about everything all the time, and we know how that plays out. You sound crazy. You get this, like you don't get the traction that you're probably looking for. So owning one distribution channel and making that thing work for you, I believe is the key for most of us to really get ahead. And unfortunately, there's so many people that, myself included, that get caught up in this. You want to have good distribution strategies, and Peter Thiel even talks about that, and I think it was from 0 to 1, and it's like but the reason why you do that is because you really don't understand distribution. Like, you really don't understand what it takes to really have an effective distribution strategy, opposed to doing a little bit of sales, a little bit of BD, a little bit of advertising, trying to do some virtual, trying to do some viral marketing. You throw everything at it, right? And it just doesn't stick, man, because you don't fully know what your customers want, and because you haven't peeled back the onion long enough and really gotten into something that's going to cause them to take action and really want to follow up with you and start to follow you, right? And you start to build that audience into it. So with that said, I would love to know what you guys think about this content. Are you guys more into ownership? Are you guys more into distribution? I don't think there's one right or wrong, so I would love to hear from you. Connect with me on any of the major platforms. I'm there, but LinkedIn is where I play heavy. Joe Alex Lemon. You can find me anywhere under that handle, but LinkedIn is where I would love to meet up with you guys at. And of course, you can go to joealexlemon.work and join the early subscribers list if you're interested in maybe getting some early access to some of my sales courses. I'm putting together a focus test group, and I would love to get some feedback in. This focus group is really being pretty transparent. I'm not charging anybody for it because I want to make sure that I'm bringing valuable content to people first. And I had to push it back because this whole fatherhood thing is real. I'm working off 3 hours of sleep today, and hence the eyes are low and all the rest of that stuff. But with that said, if you're interested in being a part of that initial webinar course to give me feedback, just to let me know that I'm bringing some value to the market, please go to the website, hit the contact page, and let me know you're interested. Again, it's joealexlemon.work, or just shoot me an email at joe@joealexlemon.work. With that said, you guys stay phenomenal.